Alright, back outside. Yeah, it's kind of a nice day. I like this kind of weather where, it's kind of warm. Warming up anyway. There's still some snow around though. But you know it's doomed. It's gonna be brutally destroyed, crushed. The evil menace will be annihilated. Well, anyway. Sorry, it's kind of awkward walking. So subject, yeah, just kind of on this perception thing, and the fact that it's really hard to make arguments to people because what you're kind of attacking the substance of life, which is their desire, their perception that there is value to be pursued in this life thing. And I can see how, it's a real problem. I mean, when you're a kid and you believe in Christmas, the fun of it, it'd be kind of a challenge to sit there and try to persuade some kid that, oh look, it's just a manufactured perception of value. You're not really going to enjoy it. I mean, it's only going to last a few hours and it'll all be over. So it'll be all this anticipation, all this want, all this desire, and you're going to be disappointed in the end. Something will break, something won't work, the batteries won't be included, some kind of bullshit, and it's a delusion of value. It's not a real perception. And you could argue the same thing about sports. I mean, that's one that's just so obvious for myself. I was never a sports fanatic. I mean, I would never wear a team cap or something, But I did follow it, and I did somehow care which team won, and I did have characters in the play that I empathized with, and I wanted them to have a good day. And it was all bullshit. And if I walked up to me, 20 years ago, me now, and tried to talk to that guy 20 years ago and say, hey, you know what? This is all just bullshit in your brain. All right, I'd probably be able to convince myself. I was always vulnerable to a rational argument. But the point is that it wouldn't. It's all obvious in hindsight, and I guess it's sort of like that philosophically. And it's always going to sound arrogant, and it's always going to sound a little bit crazy, because there's lots of people living in their shopping cart, talking like they know the secrets to life, from their shopping cart perspective, collecting their recyclable cans, and they're full of shit, but they're talking just as confidently as I am. So it's hard to escape the label of lunatic, rambler, ranter, because how do you prove the truth? You can only argue it. And I think the difference between a rational sound argument and mush is apparent. There's a lot of people talking like they got some mystical truth out there. All this, they'll put a name on it, spiral dynamics, and it sounds like it's something, but you scratch it, it's nothing there. It's just it's just a pretty color, and there's a lot of that out there. You see it in the message boards, people talking all this talk like they've been to the other side and they've glimpsed reality, but they come back with this vague description. It's still almost like the religion shit, none of it makes real hard sense, and somehow you still have to be there and see it to see it, and you're like, oh, that sounds like shit to me. If it's so damn obvious, why can't you explain it? And to me, that's sort of the burden That's sort of the process of these videos for 2 years, 3 years now almost, is talking through all this crap and trying to figure out how you make a linear, efficient description so people get what you're saying, and trying to avoid words that create misunderstanding, like objective. But people have so many rules around their words and their usage. Unfortunately, none of their rules seem to match what should be the only rules that matter, which are how the word was created and what it's meant for the last 50 years or 100 years. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, it's making this argument, and it just seems, I'm sitting here looking at it, and it's just so obvious what we are. We're completely a contrivance of crude forces that had the mechanical initiative to create consuming and reproducing machines. And the contest was, make a machine that can do that really effectively. And obviously a machine that has our tools, mental tools, modeling tools, gives a reproducing machine a huge advantage. And even though we're burdened to have that advantage, in the sense that we do have a real bulk to us. It's a bit of work to manufacture one of these things. We're not simple like a little squirming microbe. So it's obviously the designs can get quite eccentric, and we're just one of those eccentric designs. But we're all, the part that confuses us, I think, is the fact that evolution isn't linear. It's everything's evolving to the new world that's created each new day, and so we're all living on different layers of this artificial biosphere that's been created by this life parasite, and so that kind of distorts our perspective, because there are so many underworlds completely dominated by what is the real life mechanic, which sort of is the more like keep it simple, stupid diagram model is still underlying all of this, and is still incredibly successful. All this trees and shit, it's all a simple design that's stood the test of time. Nothing's outcompeted the tree. Only other trees. Alright, gotta walk. These aren't too bad. The other crossing was horrible. I almost went swimming and such. Alright. So where am I? Yeah, that's all. The argument really shouldn't be that complex to make. We are a desire machine. We are made addicted, born addicted. We must have certain things. And then our psychology puts a whole bunch of other things in a pretty close to must-have category. Must-have if we're going to be happy anyway. And most of those things are all focused towards preserving this DNA model and getting it into the future. And it's just, it's crude and stupid. And we can glorify it, and we can wordify it. We can put a whole bunch of words on it to describe what we're doing, but it really is pretty crude science, pretty simple science. The dynamic isn't much more complicated than a flame burning. It's chemistry. And it's really complex in terms of we've got so many layers. It's like the brain could be working very simply in terms of it could just be a bunch of reflexes, a bunch of worm brains, like a million worm brains inside our head. And so we're like a million worm brain power, and that gives us the illusion that we're doing something much more sophisticated, but at the roots our brain could be doing something not more sophisticated, just a lot more bulk to it. It's doing it more times, it's doing it in more permutations. It's just more mass, not necessarily more substance. Let's see what else. But yeah, it's all just bullshit. Because even the idea of intelligence, it's so many